What's up, guys? In this video I'm going to cover exactly how to open as a mage. So let's start with fire, everybody's favorite spec. A lot of people ask me, Nash, what's your macro? What exactly do you do to open up as a fire mage and get those insane ignites and those huge combustions that just throw you on top of the meters and leave everybody else in the dust? Well, I'm going to show you today. So when you're opening as a fire mage, the main thing that you need to understand is that you want to pre-pot and cast mirror images at about 3 seconds, and then you want to start hard casting a Pyroblast, so that way when the countdown finishes and the tank pulls, your cast is finishing as the tank is pulling, and that'll give the tank about 1 or 2 attacks while the Pyroblast is in the air to try to hold threat off you, and then it's into your rotation. Now what this also does is it also puts the critical mass and the ignite buff onto the boss, and from there on the next spell you would cast would be your dot. You want to get your dot up. So like on Iron Juggernaut, for the footage that you're seeing behind me, this is where you would go ahead and throw up your living bomb. And then after that, you're really spamming for that, for the perfect setup, which is the heating up proc with the Pyroblast proc. So the parentheses on top of the parentheses, okay? Now, here's the trick. Obviously, evocation's already been up, so if your pull countdown started at 10, you would have cast evocation already to make sure that you're going to have that buff through the duration. You can maximize that if you want. Not as big of a deal as long as you've got at least 30 seconds. When the countdown starts, you want at least 30 seconds of your invocation buff up, so that way you're getting that going while you're doing your combustion, okay? Now, the trick to doing it is you're going to want to have this big macro. Now, don't be scared about this macro. This macro does have a couple of optional things in it, okay? The troll racial is called Berserking, so we're obviously... that's the main thing. If you're not a troll, if you're Alliance, or you're just not a troll race, don't obviously bother putting that in there. The second part is engineering. If you're not an engineer, do not bother putting that part in there. That is for synapse springs. That procs your int off your gloves. So what you're really trying to do as a fighter mage is get every cooldown you can imagine on the boss as you pop your combustion. This helps you get those monster ignites, okay? So the next step in this macro is making sure, make sure you have a potion up, but we're really waiting for the trinkets, okay? The biggest thing that we're waiting for is our trinkets. We want to make sure our trinkets, our meta gem, are procced. If we're using the 4-piece, we want to make sure that we fire off an Inferno Blast and try to save that Pyro, so that way we've got that guaranteed crit coming out. Again, all these little things are really going to help you get a monster ignite up on the boss, which in turn is going to make your combustion tick for even more and even more times, depending on if your meta gem's up, etc., etc. So as we go into the macro, what we're going to be doing after that is we're going to be casting Presence of Mind, and then we're going to be casting Alter Time. Now, the reason we cast Presence of Mind is because that way it makes our Pyro free. Well, it only costs, we only get rid of that buff once we actually cast a spell that cost us cast time. So if you already have that Pyroblast and that heating up proc ready, well, if it crits, and we get that extra Pyroblast, and it's a guaranteed crit because of Inferno Blast, we're going to get a minimum of 2, okay? We're going to get a minimum of 2, pretty much a minimum of 3 crits. So we're going to hit our macro once, and what this is going to do is it's going to give us all those buffs, and then pop Alter Time to capture all of those buffs, okay? And then what our macro is going to do is cast Pyroblast the first time, so we don't even miss a GCD by doing it. Then we're spamming our Pyroblast until we're out of procs. Some people will actually use like a Tell Me When to keep track of Presence of Mind, the buff, so that way they know, when they've actually gone and used their free Pyroblast. It's really up to you. Most of the time you can tell. Some people will strafe back and forth very quickly. It's really up to you on how to do that. But then you're casting your Pyroblast, and that is, and then you're just spamming your pyros, obviously, as many as you can. popping your macro one more time, and this will actually reset your buffs. Fire that initial Pyroblast, fire your Pyroblast off again until your Ignite's where you want it, and then you hit your Combustion button, and it is GG, my friends. You will be pulling some crazy numbers.